Welcome to the Inspiring Welsh Schools podcast, a company led by teachers and inspiring the future. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoy this episode, don't forget to like, follow, and share our podcast so that more educators across Wales can benefit from these professional insights. Your support helps us continue creating content that is practical, relevant, and inspiring. In today's episode, we are going to explore assessment for learning in depth, focusing on practical strategies that teachers can embed in daily practice. We'll break down each step, provide real classroom examples, and discuss ways to record evidence meaningfully. The curriculum for Wales makes it clear that formative assessment should be integrated into every lesson and every learning experience. It's not an optional extra, it is central to improving outcomes for all learners. To begin, let's clarify what assessment for learning actually is. This is the process of gathering information during learning, not after it, and using that information to shape teaching and learning in real time. Unlike summative assessment, which captures a snapshot of achievement, assessment for learning is continuous, responsive, and reflective. Its purpose is to identify misconceptions, recognize strengths, and guide learners on the next steps in their learning journey. 1. Questioning. Questioning is one of the most powerful and flexible tools in assessment for learning, but purposeful questioning is more than asking a question and expecting a raised hand. Effective questioning is planned, probing, and responsive. For example, in a mathematics lesson on fractions, instead of asking, "Is this correct?" a teacher might ask, "Can you explain how you worked this out? Why did you choose that method? Can you think of another way to solve it?" By listening carefully to learners' reasoning, the teacher can identify who understands the concept and who has misconceptions. In practice, this might look like the teacher moving around the classroom, stopping at each learner's desk and asking one or two probing questions. Recording, teachers can quickly make notes on a seating chart or use a tablet to tick off learners who demonstrate understanding, need support, or show partial understanding. This allows the teacher to plan follow-up activities for groups or individuals. 2. Observing learners. Observation is subtle but crucial. During independent work or group tasks, the teacher circulates, listens, and notes behaviors, interactions, and thinking processes. For instance, in a science lesson on chemical reactions, the teacher might notice that a group incorrectly predicts the outcome of an experiment. Rather than correcting immediately, the teacher asks a guiding question like, "What do you notice happening here, and what does that tell you about the reaction?" This prompts learners to think critically and self-correct. Recording, teachers can jot brief notes in a class observation book or use a digital app to tag examples of misconceptions or successes. Later, these observations can feed into lesson planning or moderation meetings. 3. Feedback. Feedback is widely recognized as one of the most powerful influences on learning, but effective feedback must be timely, specific, and actionable. In an English lesson, instead of writing "good work" on a student's essay, a teacher might write, "Your introduction clearly explains your main argument, but you could strengthen it by adding a quote from the text." Or verbally, "I can see you understand the main concept. Can you expand your reasoning here so it's even clearer?" Recording, feedback can be logged in digital portfolios, learning journals, or in a spreadsheet that tracks progress against specific learning outcomes. This creates evidence for moderation, reporting, and planning future lessons. 4. Peer assessment. Peer assessment encourages learners to develop critical thinking and metacognition. In a creative writing class, learners might use a checklist. Does the paragraph have a clear topic sentence? Is there evidence to support the argument? Are there any spelling or grammar errors? The peer highlights areas that meet the criteria and suggests improvements. Classroom practice. The teacher first models the process and explains how to give constructive feedback. The peer then provides feedback verbally or in writing, and the original learner reflects and revises their work. Recording, teachers can collect checklists or use peer assessment sheets, which can then be annotated digitally or stored in portfolios. This provides a record of progress and engagement. 5. Self-assessment. Self-assessment encourages learners to reflect on their own understanding and learning strategies. For example, in a geography lesson, learners might complete a reflection prompt at the end of the lesson. What did I understand well today? What do I still need to work on? What steps will I take next? Classroom practice. Teachers can model self-assessment initially, demonstrating how to identify strengths and areas for improvement. Over time, learners complete it independently, and use it to set goals for the next lesson. Recording responses can be collected in learning journals, digital portfolios, or a shared online document. Teachers can review trends over time to identify patterns in learning and areas needing additional support. 6. Learning conversations. Learning conversations are structured dialogues between teacher and learner, focused on progress and next steps. For example, during a 10-minute one-to-one, the teacher reviews a learner's writing, asks reflective questions, and co-creates goals. Questions could include: what part of this task do you feel most confident about? Where do you think you need more support? What will you focus on next? Classroom practice. Teachers can schedule these conversations weekly or bi-weekly for targeted learners, while also having brief check-ins with the whole class during lessons. Recording. Teachers might record outcomes in a spreadsheet, noting goals and next steps. Learners might also record reflections in a personal learning log. These records help track progress over time. 7. Visual and interactive methods. Visual or interactive tasks help make learning visible. For instance, in a history lesson, learners could use a timeline to arrange key events. The teacher observes placements and discussions to assess understanding of chronology, cause, and effect. In mathematics, learners could use mini whiteboards to solve problems individually or collaboratively, showing methods step by step. Classroom practice. These tasks encourage active participation and allow learners who struggle with writing to demonstrate understanding. Recording. Teachers can take photos of timelines, scan whiteboards, or record explanations. These artifacts provide concrete evidence of learning for portfolios or moderation. 8. Acting on evidence. Assessment for learning is not complete until teachers act on the evidence gathered. Example: in a science lesson on forces, observation shows a group has misunderstood Newton's third law. The next lesson begins with a quick practical demonstration addressing the misconception, followed by discussion and a short applied task. Meanwhile, learners who understood the concept first time are challenged with extension activities. Recording, notes from observations, quick formative assessments, or student reflections can be collated digitally or in paper records, linked to lesson plans for review. This creates a visible trail of how assessment informs teaching. 9. Formative assessment tasks. Practical tasks like exit tickets or mini quizzes provide quick insights. Example: at the end of a lesson, a teacher might ask learners to write one thing they learned and one question they still have. Or in a language lesson, learners complete a short quiz on vocabulary and grammar. Classroom practice. These tasks are low stakes and quick, but provide rich feedback to inform planning. Recording. Exit tickets can be collected in a folder or photographed for digital storage. Mini-quiz results can be logged in a spreadsheet to track trends over time. 10. Linking to success criteria. Assessment for learning is most effective when success criteria are clear and shared. Example: in a science experiment, learners are given clear criteria for success. Write a hypothesis, describe the method, record observations accurately, and draw conclusions. During the activity, the teacher checks progress against these criteria. Classroom practice. Learners refer to the criteria for self-assessment and peer assessment. Teachers use them to provide targeted feedback during and after the lesson. Recording, notes on which criteria were met, learner reflections, or digital submissions can all be used to track progress and provide evidence for moderation or reporting. If you're an educational company and would like to advertise with us or sponsor a future episode of the Inspiring Welsh Schools podcast, we would love to hear from you. Partnering with us is a fantastic way to connect with teachers and schools across Wales. You can get in touch directly by emailing us at inspiringwelshschools@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to this detailed exploration of practical assessment for learning strategies. We hope it has given you ideas that you can take straight into your classroom, whether that's refining questioning techniques, using peer or self-assessment, conducting learning conversations, or leveraging digital portfolios. The key is always, gather evidence, act on it, and empower learners to take ownership of their progress. This has been the Inspiring Welsh Schools podcast, a company led by teachers and inspiring the future. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Next time, we'll continue exploring practical strategies and professional insights that help schools across Wales thrive. Tune in next time, and until then, keep reflecting, keep sharing, and keep inspiring the learners in your classrooms. If you're an educational company and would like to advertise with us or sponsor a future episode of the Inspiring Welsh Schools podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Partnering with us is a great way to connect with schools and teachers across Wales and to showcase how your work supports education. You can get in touch directly by emailing us at inspiringwelshschools@gmail.com.